Hi, my name is Nathaniel Alvarado, and this is Exercise 2, the Messenger application for distributed systems. So jumping right into it. First off, I have a main method here which reads in the command line arguments that are given to the program, and then it passes it through this method, messenger arguments. From there, it then takes the command line arguments and then it checks to make sure that there is more than 0 and less than 3, so nothing screwy can happen. So then once it has that information, it then looks at the positions on the command line. So if it in position 0 it is equal to -L, then it's going to act like a server, and if it's anything else, then it's going to act like a client. So if it is going to be a server, then what it does is then knowing ahead of time, the port number will then be equal to uh, the arguments at position 1, and then it will then take that port number and then we will then give it to start server. If it's a client, then what we're going to do is we always want the local host in this case, so we just set that over here, and then if it's the port number, then it's going to be in position 0 of the arguments. So then once we have that, then we pass it to start client, so then port number and server address. So going down to start server, the port number that we passed it, we then take it, and then we create a new server instance, or server socket instance, and then we give it port number over here, which was passed from up here. So once we have that, then we can take that and then we can pass that through the message handler that I created and then have it be accepted by it. And then if it's a client, then getting the port number and the address, we then initialize the client socket, and then we try to connect to the server. So then we pass the server address and the port number to the client socket, and then we pass that client socket to the message handler. Once all that gets accepted, it's all good. Then what we do is we then create two instances of input and output, and then these instances then create the threads. So by then passing both of these sockets to it, then we can get the ball rolling and then have the input and output threads start. So once these two start, we then are into the threads. So then we have socket and then output data, which is data output stream. So then once we have that, we then get the message output, which was the socket that we got passed up here. And then once we have that information, then we get the current instance of the socket, and then we also then set the output data to the data output stream, and then the socket to get the stream of data. So then once we're in the run method, this will keep reading in the input that the user puts in. So whatever they type in, it'll just keep reading it in. And then this while loop right here will keep on getting that information that is put in as long as you want. It'll just keep on going until, because I'm running a Mac, Command D is pressed. Once Command D is pressed, then output data will then write out end. So then once that happens, in messenger input, it'll then see that. So in messenger input, we get socket input data, so just the reverse of this, and the output data. So once we get that, it's the same thing, socket, the current instance of the socket, the input data, and then the data input stream, and then get that stream. So then it'll just keep on allowing this information to keep passing through up until we hit Command D, and then once that happens, then it'll say, oh, well, it's over now. So then it'll know, okay, it's time to stop sending that information. During that entire process as well, we have two joins here. So these make it so that if one thread is still executing before the other, it'll wait until the other one is done. So it'll keep it up nice and sync with each other. So then once all that's done and the user is finished sending messages from the client or the server and they hit Control D, we then close it out right here. Thank you very much.